Hey, what's up? It's Michael. Yo, welcome to the podcast. I got to say it every single time. I got to pimp what I'm doing, you know. First of all, Miami Improv. I will be there September 6th and 7th. Get your tickets, michaelyo.com. And then in Seattle, I know I'm going to be there that Friday and Saturday, end of September. It's at Laugh Seattle. But then I'm doing a small venue the night before in Seattle. So I'm doing 3 shows, 4 or 5 shows. michaelyo.com for all the tickets and all that information. Man, we're in the middle of baby season. All my friends are having babies. My wife, we're more than halfway there, man. So I'm getting in all my tour dates. I'm a tour to like November. I think my last date is like November 2nd or 3rd. And then I'm done because the doctor told us the baby could come early.
Are you nervous? Because, you know, I know you've done this already. Are you like a pro?
I will tell you this, it's different this time around. Because when we first had Oliver, you know, everything was so exciting. It's like, oh my God, everything we watched was for the first time. Now, like when we go to the doctor's office, you can't have that same excitement because I'm chasing my son around, missing everything. We're doing sonographs and my son's like, what's this? Trying to grab like stuff off the shelves. So literally it's just my wife with the doctor looking at the sonogram and I'm chasing my son around, which I love. And I love my son, but it's totally different the second time around. I'm not as nervous. I still get scared. Like I remember the first time I was like, man, I was so strict on my wife and I felt so, I was like a trainer. I was like, you can't eat this. You can't eat this. You know, you got to eat greens. You got to, like, I was reading all these books. I'll be honest with you, second time around, I haven't read anything. Like, I'm just so, like, this next kid, I don't know. I don't know how it's going to come out, but.
Do you guys take classes and stuff or do you guys?
We haven't taken any classes the second time. I think we'll take a CPR again. I don't even know if we're supposed to go to classes again. I mean, I have no idea. Like, that's how unprepared we are for the second one. We don't even have a baby room yet for it.
Do you guys like really squat up? Like some people get like doulas and all that stuff.
No, we go to the hospital. And I'm lucky we went to the hospital because with our son, we got to the hospital and my wife was like 3 centimeters. And I think to be prepared, it's like 9 or 10. I'm not sure. I'm probably screwing all these numbers up. But once we got to the hospital, she opened up so fast, the baby got stuck in almost like a vacuum in her.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, in the vajayjay.
Wow.
A vacuum vajayjay.
Wow.
Yeah. So my son, so it's crazy because what that does, and I'm learning about this, it scares the baby and then it cuts off their air a little bit because they're like, what's going on? What's going on?
Wow.
So I saw his heart rate, my son's heart rate go from 150 beats to like 80. And they hit a red button in the room. All these nurses came in. They were flipping my wife all different type of directions to try to get him out of that. And I was like, thank God we didn't do this at home. Like it could have not ended up well. So my thing is like, you know, they have these people that give birth like at the doulas, but then they have these places you can go more holistic that's like across the street from the hospital.
Oh, like kind of like home births and water births.
Yeah.
Like
but it's across the street from the hospital.
Oh, okay.
These places, my thing is, if something goes wrong, you're going to bring them to the hospital, but that's a lot of time to get just for me. And I've heard the argument that, well, you're bringing them to a place with a bunch of diseases and a bunch of sicknesses there, which is a good statement. I mean, yeah, you kind of are, but I would rather a bunch of people that know what they're doing and have all the.
So they went down. Yeah. So they went down. You're there.
Yeah, which it did.
Yeah.
Thank God they hit a button. I thought I was in freaking Grey's Anatomy, like an episode. I was scared, man. I was like, oh my God. They pushed me into a corner and all I could do was watch. It was the most scariest thing in my life, man. It was bananas.
So after that, I mean, this is like going to be a walk in the park, right? I mean.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't even know what the sex of the kid is. Like, my wife was like, we're not going to know. I don't want to know the sex of the kid. We're just going to have it. Because let's think about it, Ernie. How many things today are actually a surprise? Nothing.
Nothing.
Not even a blind date is a surprise anymore because you know what they look like. Like me and my wife met on a blind date, but I knew exactly what she looked like. I know where she was from. She knew exactly what I look like, exactly where I'm from. So there's nothing to surprise. Like the only thing, there's really no surprises anymore. So we're going to wait and, everybody wants a girl. I don't care. Cause I was so nervous to have a girl first. Oh my God, I was bad because I felt like I wasn't ready, but now I'm ready for a girl. If we have a girl, great. If we have a boy, great. I'm ready for anything, but I know how to take care of a girl. I didn't want to be the first baby a girl, even though like to me, they're more precious. You know, like you don't want to bang them around as much as your first.
Yeah,
You know, my son was like a test dummy. You know, like boing, oh, he didn't break. Okay, let's keep on. Now with a girl, it's like I know how to protect them and things like that. So I feel like I'm ready. I'm ready for a girl. My wife, I got to get her on the pod, man. I want her to talk about it.
Yeah, you do.
She's so relaxed.
So you're not as strict as go around with like the food and stuff like that?
I don't care what she eats. Like that's how much it's like, you know, I mean, we eat healthy. Don't get me wrong. We eat healthy, but she loves the snack right now. Like she craves this. I came back from Chicago. I just got back from Chicago. Big shout outs to everybody in Chicago. Thank you for coming out to Chicago Improv. But she loves Garrett's popcorn. Have you ever had Garrett's popcorn?
I have not. No.
What?
Yeah.
You got to get some before you leave. It's like caramel corn with some cheddar corn, like popcorn mixed.
Oh, those are the best.
It's delicious, dude.
Like,
and I just had a bowl before we started. I should have gave you some. I'm an ass. Sorry. But she's craving that for her pregnancy. She craves like certain things at certain times. She was craving pickles like crazy the first pregnancy. She doesn't even like pickles anymore. It's weird how they like different things.
Wow.
But she was also sick a lot too. So, you know, we'll see. We're having a baby in December, November. We'll see. But I was supposed to go to Calgary to perform November 15th and 16th, but we got to cancel that date. Because when we went to the doctor was like, hey, I know it's supposed to be at the beginning of December, but we don't know.
Yeah.
You got to be here 3 weeks before, 3 weeks after just to make sure.
Smart move, man. You never know.
So I'll be here. So literally, we always have Thanksgiving at our house. So all the family is coming over to the house. So everybody will already be here for the baby.
Oh, nice.
I know. It's nice. Pretty awesome, man.
It'd be great, man.
Who's on the show today? Pete Lee? Dude, let me tell you something about Pete Lee. Pete Lee is one of the funniest comics you will ever see. I don't know how he does it. He's known as a regular on Jimmy Fallon. The dude is incredibly funny. He's one of those guys, you know, like when I do stand up, I write about my life. So it's a continuation of a story. Pete Lee is so good. He can watch something on the news and write a whole joke about it and then go perform it that night. And it crushes. It kills. Like he's so talented. Pete Lee is in next. All right. It's the Michael Yo Show. Please, once again, subscribe, rate, and like it. And I will be at the Miami Improv September 6th and 7th. Also in Seattle, September 26th, 27th, 28th. Go to my webpage, Michael Yo, and check it out. Pete Lee now.
Michael Yo. The Michael Yo Show. Celebrities.
To be honest, I don't like male strippers.
Pop culture. And comedy.
That's what I'm trying to do, is streamline this whole thing into a cult.
Plus, 10 things you should know with Yo. The Michael Yo Show starts now.
In the studio right now, we have Pete Lee. You can follow him on Instagram. Pete Lee. Is that...
Thank you.
Now, why 3 Pete Lees?
Because I couldn't get Pete Lee, and then 2 seemed, I don't know, weak. And, it's like the comedy rule of 3s, you know? I was like, 3's funny. Pete Lee, it's the longest Instagram handle ever. Like, if I like a photo, normally it says like, it's liked by this person, and this person. If I like a photo, it's liked by Pete Lee.
So people know who you are right away. They were like, and if they don't, they're like, who's this guy taking up all my feed?
Yeah. This guy's, and I'm actually very humble and wholesome and stuff, I look very obnoxious on Instagram with Pete Lee. Like, wow, this guy's a narcissist.
No, I think I first met you through Michael Cox on his boat.
Yeah, you and I met on a yacht.
I know, how crazy is that? We met, our first time meeting was on a freaking yacht.
We were on a yacht. That's the ritziest way to meet.
And that's when you first moved to LA. So you were like living your best life right out of the gate.
Yeah, that was I met you on my first day in LA. I moved here and then we like immediately went on the yacht. And not only did I meet you on a yacht.
Now, by the way, for people, it was not my yacht. It was a different Michael's yacht.
Yeah, it was a different Michael's yacht, but I met you on the staircase of the yacht. So like boats that have a staircase, that's pretty ritzy.
We're like, are you going up? Oh, yeah. Yes, I'm going up too. It was, that's where we met. And to be honest with you, I never knew you before that day because you moved in from New York.
Yeah.
And then I started looking you up, for this interview. You had a long career in New York. You've done very well in New York.
Yeah.
Passed at every club in New York.
Yeah. And I just wasn't in LA at all. And I met a girl here. I moved here for love, not even for a career.
Really?
Most comics are like, man, I haven't quite made it in New York. I want to move to LA to like make it big in show business. And I was just like, I met a girl named Jamie and she's nice. And, yeah, so I moved out here and I moved here for love, but now everything's going great career-wise, so maybe it's...
Would you have moved if she lived in, like, Wyoming?
Oh, hell no. That would have been like a 2.5 week relationship where we hooked up and then there was some communication and then it's like, oh, it's not going to work. Sorry.
So you move here and do you automatically, since you have, you're funny, been on Jimmy Fallon like 4 times this year? Over a year?
Yeah, it was in just over a year. I was on the Tonight Show 4 times and I'm about to do my 5th, which is so cool.
You're considered a regular by Jimmy Fallon on the show. Now, where did Jimmy Fallon first see you to put you on stage?
Oh my God, thank you. This is like one of my favorite stories.
Yeah.
So the story starts in my living room. He's not a peeping Tom. Like, hey Pete, I'm in your bushes.
Or what are you doing in your house?
Yeah.
That people, like celebrities want to look in on.
It's a great show I'm putting on. It's like a Cirque du Soleil of my living room.
There you go.
I'm a contortionist, but yeah. So my career was kind of down in the dumps, and by that I mean I had a show on True TV. Like True TV is like it should be called If a Tree Falls in the Woods. It's just like I had.
Is that a show where you did in like no reaction at all?
No reaction. Like,
but they do have a show. What's those 3 guys? The
Impractical Jokers.
It's absolutely huge.
Yeah, we were the lead in to the Impractical Jokers. So I think people tuned into our show 2 minutes towards the end of it to go see.
Okay, what was your show? Because I didn't know.
It was called Greatest Ever, and we would just make fun of internet clips. It was the easiest show. We literally shot 120 episodes of it, and every single time that the show would air, I would get 3 followers on Instagram.
That's it.
Yeah, and like it even had my name and then my Instagram handle underneath me. So it was like.
Now, was it a bunch of different comedians though, or were you like the main host?
It was a bunch of different comedians, but if I'm being honest, like out of the like 19 minutes of airtime, I probably was at least 5 of it.
Okay.
I was on it a lot. I wrote for it a lot. I was a producer on it. So like I kind of selected my own clips. So
cheating the system.
Yeah, cheating the True TV system. But it was a legitimately funny show, and I was making enough to live in New York and not have to tour as much. But I was just kind of like, man, what is my career? What is this? We have those moments where we're just like, I feel stuck. So a friend of mine was like, you should read the book, The Secret. Do you know that?
Oh yeah, I read that book. Yeah,
thoughts
absolutely.
are things. You throw words out in the universe. They
100%.
come back like rain, and they rain money into your life. So I was too lazy to read The Secret, so I watched it on YouTube. And on my Samsung Smart TV, I pulled it up on the YouTube, and in the middle of it, there's this really hokey part where the guy goes, "Now's the time where you pause this program and wish for something unreasonable." And so I paused it, and I was like, all right, I heard about Jimmy Fallon coming to see Nate Bargatze at the Stand, and I want that same thing, and then I want him to see me and really like me, invite me on the Tonight Show, and then I want to get a standing ovation. Like for some reason, because Joe Coy got a standing ovation on Jay Leno's Tonight Show, and that always stuck in my head. Like I want a Joe Coy standing ovation. Right?
Heck yeah.
So then I was like, all right, universe, is that unreasonable enough? Cool. Like I was taunting the universe.
And then you hit play.
I hit play, and then I watched the rest of it. All these people telling me my dreams would come true. The next day, I get an email that says that I have a Tonight Show showcase on Sunday night at the Stand. And I was like,
stop it.
Yeah, I'm like, that's weird. You never see showcases on Sundays, right? Like Sundays are just not a day that the industry goes out. So I'm standing at the bar at the Stand, and I'm drinking a whiskey because I'm nervous. Like because I had my set together, it was perfect. You know how sometimes when things are too perfect, that's
it's something
when you're
like something's gonna happen. Like I'm gonna get bumped. Somebody's gonna come in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I totally understand. It's almost too and you know it so well.
Yeah,
you're like, I'm gonna mess up because I know this so well.
Yeah, this is too hard. And so I'm standing at the bar, and I have my whiskey, and the manager of the Stand, Adele, walks by, and she's kind of looking at me like, you don't know who's behind me. And then my manager at the time, Dave, he looks at me like, dude, do I have a surprise for you? And the next guy was like, hey, Pete, it's Jimmy. Dave told me to come see you, and I hear that you're really great, and it's going to be really nice to see you. I'll see you downstairs, blah, blah, blah. And the first thing I ever said to Jimmy Fallon, I go, oh, my God, The Secret is real.
That's hilarious.
He's since given me crap for that because it was such a weird intro to him. But he's like, I don't know what that means, but cool. I'll see you downstairs, Pete.
Like, did you like kind of just like, oh my God, I just said that to Jimmy Fallon?
Yeah.
Because with all this, you're nervous, and then you go, The Secret is real, and he's like, All right. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, and then he walks by, and my heart is just like boom, 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 boom. And I was like, another whiskey. And I downed another whiskey. And then I also had to follow Roy Wood Jr.
Oh, I love him. Yeah, he's a beast.
He's a beast. And not only that, he wasn't auditioning. He was running his set for the next day. He was on Monday. So he already had a set that was just monstrous and approved. And so I was like, oh, man, I'm dead in the water. But the first couple comics went up, and the crowd sucked. And then Roy went up, and he cracked the room. And I was like, oh, thank God he's this funny. And then I went up and just rode the wave. And I'm killing it. I'm like, oh my God, this is great. The secret is real, right? And in the middle of my set, I have a joke where I say, or in my first Tonight Show set, I said, I go, I hate conflict. Like I never want to offend anybody. Like the other day, this guy sneezed and I wanted to say bless you, but instead I go, happy holidays.
Yeah.
And Jimmy Fallon stands up and he claps his hands. He goes, yes. He goes, I love this guy. And I
in
was
the middle of the set?
In the middle of the set. And I was like, thank you, sir. Or
how long into the set were you? How many minutes were you in?
I was probably 2 minutes into the set. And
wow.
And like in New York, like the way that people are with celebrities is like if Jimmy Fallon's there, they're like, leave him alone, be cool. Nobody even acknowledge him. Right. As soon as he said that, everybody was like, no, we love you, Jimmy.
Oh, okay.
Like,
yeah.
The crowd roared and it was like a whole big moment. And in my head, I'm like,
let me ask you this, because I'm interested. In 2 minutes, how many jokes? Because me, I'm a long storyteller. But in 2 minutes, I've seen you say, how many jokes did you get through in that 2 minutes?
There were probably like 6 or 7.
Wow.
That but I always I like longer bits and stuff. But like I always say that in the first 2 minutes, I have to have like an opening flurry.
Yeah.
Because I'm so sweet and wholesome, and also like I have a look on my face at the beginning of every set, like I'm one of you from the audience, but I'm just up here now.
Yeah. And I'm scared too.
Yeah, I'm scared too, and I'm pretty honest about being a little nervous. And if I don't have like a very dense opening to the show, the audience is like, "Oh, he sucks." Like he's
oh
new.
Really? You see that, huh?
If I start out loose, they just treat me like, "Oh, he's not very good," you know.
Wow, that's interesting.
So I have to have like boom, 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 and then I can loosen it up later on.
So Jimmy Fallon jumps up and goes, "Yes, I love this guy." Now, I think I've done the stand once. It's a pretty small room, right? Could you see him?
Yeah, I could see him. So the showroom, or at least the old showroom, was like narrow and wide, and he was off to the right. He was in this booth over here. And he stands up. He's wearing khakis and a black polo shirt, and so I could just like see his legs basically. And I was like, he's like, yes, I love this guy. And I was like, thanks, sir, or Jimmy.
But you knew it was Jimmy, right?
I knew it was Jimmy. It was, yeah. And the crowd roared like it was Jimmy. And I was like, thanks, sir, or Jimmy. I don't know what I can call you. And then I wanted to say, I love your Tonight Show. But then the comedian brain kicked in. And I go, I love your impulse control. And he laughed so hard and the crowd laughed, and then I just like rolled back into my set, and then I finished and he came up to me. He's like, dude, that was great. He's like, I want you on the show. And it was unreal. And then I went on the show, and then I got the standing ovation, and that was also crazy. Like being on the show, you're backstage behind the curtain, and it's totally dark except for this little monitor. And there's a guy whose job it is to pull the curtain back 4 times a night. Like there are guys working like 60 hours a week, slaving, digging ditches. And there's a guy with a really sweet ponytail in America that his job is to go, yeah,
there you go.
And that guy's super cool, by the way. That's probably how he got that job. But anyway, I'm sitting there and Jimmy starts introing me, with the little card and all that stuff. And I'm like, all right, like I'm pretty nervous. I'm ready to go out there. And then he's like, no. He's like, this doesn't feel right. And I'm like, what? No, this feels very right. Jimmy, introduce me. And he's like, you know what? He goes, I feel like you guys are a little warmed down after that last game show segment. He's like, I'm going to go out and do a little bit of stand-up. He's like, do you guys want me to do stand-up? And I was like,
what is he doing?
Yeah, I was like, what are you doing, Jimmy? Like, and I turned to the curtain guy, and I go, what is this? He goes, I've never seen him do this ever. And I was like, this is what? Because as a comic, you're like, no, just bring me out.
Because you don't want to follow Jimmy on his own show.
Yeah, on his own show. And I also, like, I'm cool sitting in the dugout. I'm cool being at bat. I don't want to be on that on deck circle. I hate that on deck circle. Yeah. Because you're in your head right there. So I'm standing back there. He goes up. and does like 10 minutes of stand up, you know, and just like, you know, it's between the scenes. And he's killing, and I'm like, all right, this is good, this is bad, I don't know. And I just keep walking to the trash can and spitting. I was like, oh, all right, get in the game, Pete. I'm in my suit spitting. And so he finally, he like gives a speech to the crowd. He goes, look, he goes, I don't really do this for very many people. He goes, I don't think I've ever done this before. But he goes, this next guy's special. I saw him myself. I discovered this guy. I was at the stand. He told that whole story. And he's like, so when I bring him out, will you treat him like he's my best friend? And they're like, yes, Jimmy, we love you. Oh my God, he's your friend. He's my friend. And I'm backstage going like, I'm going to cry. I was like, oh no, don't cry on the Tonight Show. You know, don't cry under your gray suit. And so I go out there and the crowd is just bonkers from the get-go. You know, they're like, this guy's Jimmy's friend.
We love him.
We love him. And so I hit my first joke and it goes nuts. And, you know, from that point on, I'm like, oh, well, all the jokes that I have are better than that one. So this is going to go great. I do the whole set. I say, thank you, good night. I get the standing ovation. You know, Jimmy comes up, he pitches it, you know, to commercial, whatever. And then he's supposed to run up the stairs right at the very end because that's the end of the show. And he stands there and the crowd's just still on their feet and they're cheering. And I'm like, just every defense mechanism that I had in my body was gone.
Yeah.
Like if I was a video game character, there'd be that battery symbol that's just like a red outline of a battery blinking, you know, like I'm like, oh, what's happening? And Jimmy's like, dude, do you even realize what's happening right now? He goes, you're getting the first standing ovation of my Tonight Show. He's like, this is an incredible moment. And I was like, yeah, cool, man. I can't deal. I was like, I can't deal, Jimmy. He's like, no. He goes, I know what's happening. He's like, you're in shock right now. He goes, you're gonna feel this. And he like takes my shoulders like a guy on a date with a girl, like showing her the stars. And he's like, look at that. You're getting a standing ovation right now. And I was like, I'm going to cry, Jimmy. I'm going to cry. Awesome. And then I like literally started to tear up. And then when I did that, the crowd cheered even more because they're like, you know, we
love this guy.
Yeah, they're like, this is great. And then, you know, like I walked off the set kind of wiping my tears. And by the time I got to so Gisele Bundchen, Tom Brady's wife, was on the show, and she meets me in the hallway and hugs me and was like, that was great. What a cool moment, you know? And I was like, we killed, you know, like Gisele and I are colleagues.
You're right. You're friends now.
Yeah, we're friends now. And I was like, say hi to Tom, you know?
Love Patriots, go. No.
Yeah, go Patriots. And then, yeah, I got back to my green room and Jimmy's there just hanging out with my friends being like, that was great, man. Oh my God. And I didn't think that would happen either. But yeah, the whole experience was a whirlwind. And
now, did you think your set was that good for a standing ovation?
I felt
like when you look back on it.
Yeah, like, you know, we've had those sets where you go, oh, that was special. Like that was one of my best sets ever. And like, so when they stood up, I got it, you know, but as comedians, we always know the worst it could go.
Oh yeah.
And that's why I'm spitting in the trash can beforehand. I'm going, well, I know how this went on Tuesday night early show. Like when the crowd was like, don't get that. I don't get that joke either. And so, yeah, I just was like, okay, so this was the top of how it could have gone. And so I'm never cocky enough to be like, yeah, I should have gotten a standing ovation, but I get it.
Okay. So the other 3 times you've been on, did you get standing ovations for those?
I got sitting ovations. I got really solid sitting ovations.
They were clapping hard. They just weren't sitting.
Yeah.
But I mean, also he gave you such a great intro too. Mm-hmm. And when you kill it after that intro, I mean, it's amazing. It's like a great setup. And all you got to do, it's almost like somebody saying, okay, the pitch is going to be a fastball. It's going to be around 90 miles per hour. It's going to be right over the plate. Just knock it out the park. Mm-hmm. And so what would have been bad if that big setup and then you swung and missed. Yeah,
I just came out there and balked. just that which could, you know, it could happen. I feel like as comedians, we have good days, we have bad days.
Oh, yeah.
There are days where my words don't work and I know I have to do an hour and I'm fumbling up my words. And I just say to the crowd, I'm like, I know this is what I do for a living, but it's not working. I don't know if it's like vitamin D or what, but
do you like what fascinates me about you is I don't want to call you a throwback, but but what you can do is you can watch the news, and that night you can have a whole bit ready and funny. Where like me, I don't have that talent. Like that's not my writing skill. That's not what I do. But what's so amazing is I love guys that can do that. Like you.
Thank you.
You can watch the news, watch clips, and literally that night go on and have a killer bit about it.
Yeah,
How'd you develop that?
I think I developed it writing for those crappy clip shows.
Okay,
because I would have to, for Greatest Ever on True TV, I'd have to write like 200 to 300 jokes a week, where I would just have to go into like, I don't take Adderall, but I call it Adderall mode, where I just sit down and I really focus, or I just like chill and let my mind wander on a topic. And it's crazy how like your mind will come up with something.
Now, do you write? Are you physically writing or just thinking? Because like I'm not a big writer. Sit down. I write bullet points. But are you a person that goes like every word you write out? Is that you?
Yeah, I mean, I like to write out phrases, or like I'll write out like a key phrase to the setup, and then I'll write like a key phrase to the punchline, or like a lot of times the words that I have to hit, I'll put in capitals, and I'll just kind of remember those. But like for this week at the Comedy Cellar that I do on Comedy Central, we literally have to watch the news, and then like I write like 10 to 20 minutes of material each week, and that I definitely kind of write it out more, because I find that when you have to go straight to like your notepad to taping it in front of a crowd, you want it to be as crisp as possible, like you've done it a million times.
But does that put you in a mindset of kind of memorization, and if I slip up on a word, it might put up my whole timing, or you pass that now?
Well, what I like to do is, this is a bad person to say that taught me this, but Louis C.K. back in the day, I used to open for him, I guess before he was doing nefarious activities, but, or at least he never did that to me. Yeah. But, he told me that in his process, he likes to write it out and get the gist of it, but then like when he goes on stage, he lets himself have the permission that like whatever goes. Like this is what you know, and if you have to let your brain catch you, let it. But don't be word perfect on stage. Just like let yourself feel what the audience is feeling. So I always do that, where I'll take a rough bit, and if I know I'm saying it wrong, I'm like, well, just say it this way then. Like maybe this is the way that it's supposed to come out of your face. But tonight I'm doing the new joke night at the Comedy Store in the Belly Room, so I woke up at 10 a.m. and I've been like writing. Like
which one you going to perform tonight?
Which jokes?
Yeah.
Well, I've been writing. Do you want
Yeah. Throw them out. I want to know what, because this is going up today.
Yeah. Somehow in my pocket, I got to the give feedback screen on Facebook.
So you're giving people money too right now?
Yeah. I don't know what's,
you're poor right now.
Yeah.
You've lost all your money.
That's crazy.
That's a mechanism of this podcast. As soon as you walk in, we trigger that. And then
you trigger the Facebook.
You actually pay us to be on the show. Yeah. You just don't know yet.
Yeah, because we're on Facebook Live. Yeah, this all connects. I don't know if these are good.
Oh, no, throw them out. Just a couple. I just want to see.
All right, I'm fast. I don't know. This is like a really rough idea, but something like around Hollywood, I always see like these really hot guys, and I thought like I look like a really hot guy's dentist.
Okay, yeah,
like I have dentist face, you
do.
Like I'm sensible, I might be exciting on the weekends.
I would trust you.
Yeah, I'm very trustworthy. And then I wrote a tag. Nobody looks at me like I bet he owns a motorcycle. They look at me like I bet he owns a lead apron. So I wrote that on the drive over here, so that was very unsafe.
Yeah, but that's great.
It was very dangerous.
So is your comedy kind of like you like to make? Because I've seen you kind of make fun of yourself.
I
love
it. I love it. Yeah, like when I remember Mike Birbiglia told me that sitting down at the cellar table was going to be crazy because they're just going to be digging at you, and like when I'm sitting with like Robert Kelly, Rich Voss, like those guys, Keith Robinson, and they're digging at me, I'm I'm also doubling down on what they're saying, and then I'm also going like, can I write that down? Like,
yeah, absolutely.
My feelings don't get hurt. I'm like, you're helping me with my homework. Like, I want anything that you notice that's real and kind of bad about me. Like, I want to know it. Like, because that's concrete.
Is there a certain limit? I mean, you're so likable on stage. Is there a certain limit of those type of jokes you can do in a set before people go, okay, we get it?
Yeah.
Or do you feel like you spread, or is it? Because when I've seen you, it's kind of like at the beginning, boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
You kind of go into something and then boom, 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 about yourself.
Yeah, I like to go like boom, 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 self-deprecating. And then like if I'm doing an hour, I like those kinds of jokes to be like the first 12 minutes or so.
Yeah.
And then, that point of view is within every single bit down the road, but I like to stretch it out a little bit more and tell more example stories or like true stories of like how I feel about that kind of stuff. That's like my favorite thing to do, so it like establishes the character and then you loosen it up a little bit, as you go along. But even in a 15-minute set, it'll be like 6 minutes of those kinds of jokes. And then I like to go into like longer, more example, anecdotal type things.
Are you a type of person that will write for another comic? And you don't have to say the comic because I don't want to put anybody on blast in this show, but have you written for other comics that they're kind of like, hey, will you write me some stuff, but you got to like, keep it quiet?
Well, I'll give two examples of like, and I think that it's more like I Sklar Brothers it, where I give people tags or, like one of my best friends here is Becky Robinson. Do you know Becky?
I don't know Becky.
She's a great comic. She's all over Comedy Central. She had an E show for a second. But she does characters mostly. And then right now her characters are amazing. And, she's got all the best reps in the business. She's probably going to be on SNL next season, but she's trying to work on like her stand up. And so I saw her set out at the Improv on, it was Saturday Night Late Show main room. She goes up and crushes, but my brain was just doing the math. I was going like, well, this bit plus this bit plus this bit, that's her late night set. And as her friend, I just wanted to like help her. So my girlfriend walks up and was like, great set. And I was like, we need to work.
We need to work.
Yeah, we need to get down to business. And then she was like, yeah, I just don't know what my point of view is. And I was like, well, you could wait 11 years to figure it out, or this is what it is.
Yeah, right.
And I just told her, what it is. And she has this whole bit about how she just went to the doctor and she found out she has high testosterone, and that kind of like explains everything, because she's this cutesy girl that's always trying to be girly, but like somewhere in her she's just like yeah. And it's just one of those things where she's like, that's the perfect sketch character, and she's somebody who knows how to write for characters, right? Like that's her expertise. So I was like, the reason why she didn't necessarily know how to write for herself, or thought that she didn't know how, even though she was doing it pretty well, is because she wasn't thinking of herself as a character. So I was like, here's your character, here's how your character tries and fails each time. And she just, a light bulb went on, and she was like, oh my God, I know how to write to this. And I was like, well, yeah, you've already been doing it, but here's how you can write further. But I wrote her a joke and sent it to her where, cause she's like, her whole struggle is trying to be feminine. And, the joke is, I went to the doctor, I was walking out of the doctor, and I saw this girl with a t-shirt that said the future is female. And I was like, damn it. Like, maybe for you, I'm turning into my father.
Yeah. That's funny.
So, she tried that one out last night, and it killed, and I got a text message, and I was like, oh, that makes me feel good.
Yeah, right?
I wrote a joke that did well.
So you don't, like a lot of comics, like, oh, I want to keep everything to myself. You almost, I feel like at the same time as you're really funny, but you also don't mind being a coach either to people you like, obviously.
I'd love it. I love helping out anybody. I'm somebody that feels like there's room for everybody.
Yeah.
And if there's not room for you, or if there's never been room for you, not you, but like, there's a lot.
Well, I mean, no, but we're always, I'm not satisfied. We're always pushing forward. We want the next thing.
Yeah.
And once that stops, you need to get out.
I just want everybody to be the best. Like a great show isn't where everybody bombs and then I do well. It's where like everybody's crushing and then I have to go try to follow it, so I don't know. I'm also a helper, like that's my
Yeah.
favorite thing. I got a text the other night that at the West Side Comedy Theater in Santa Monica that they needed a comic for their 9:30 slot. And I just gotten off the stage at the Comedy Store and my brain was like, there's a comedy emergency? Right. I'm there. Like a comedy bat signal had gone out. So like, I love to help. I'm a helper.
What's like, was there any tough times like when you first started in comedy?
Yeah.
Or did it, because some people, they kind of started and kind of just goes and it's going good, or like, has there ever been that low point where you're like, I might not be funny?
Yeah. I mean, I think it was funny. The first time that I went up, so I've been doing stand up almost 22 years. I'm 42.
Yeah.
I'm like the one person in Hollywood that says my age. Cause I'm like, I don't know.
Whatever.
Like whatever.
Hey, you lived.
I lived.
That's what I'm saying. Most people are like, I don't want to say my age. It's like, no, today when people are dropping dead at all kinds of ages, it's like a badge of approval. It's like, dude, I made it to, like, I'm 44.
Oh,
44. Wow. I made it that long.
You made it.
That's a huge accomplishment, man.
See, that's my goal. 2 more years.
2 more years and then you're done. Then you're out.
2 more years. 2 more years.
years.
But yeah, there were hard times, but I grew up poor. My mom was a Red Lobster waitress,
Okay.
And my dad was a successful interior decorator that, he kind of did that like 1970s, 1980s dad thing where he went off and did his own thing and our family did this. And nowadays that would be atrocious, but back then it was like, yeah, my dad's in California being an interior designer and my mom's a waitress and we were living at the poverty level. And so it's weird because
now, was he making good money and just not sending it back, or?
He was making good money and then he was sending back, the court amount. The
Okay,
court
gotcha.
approved amount.
Gotcha.
So like he was not a scoundrel in any way, but we probably
He wasn't overachieving either.
Yeah, we probably needed a little bit more. But my dad's one of my best friends. I love him. Like I'm not one of those comics that like is a dad blamer.
Yeah, I got you.
But anyway, like we grew up really poor on a Red Lobster waitress's salary. And my brother, well, I shouldn't say which brother. One of my brothers and I, we sold weed for a little while just so that we could get grocery money. Like it was like the best drug dealing.
And you don't look like a drug dealer. You could have got away. You could still be doing that today.
Yeah.
Nobody would expect you.
That's why it's funny. The funny part was that one of the guys that bought was our dentist. And I remember going in. It's funny that I have a joke about looking like a dentist because I went in and like I'd have to pretend like I didn't know my dentist, and I got a retainer and like one of those like inside like mounted to your teeth retainers. My mom was like, he gave us a huge discount. I have no idea why. And in my head I was like, marijuana.
That's why.
But so I guess when we talk about struggling in comedy, like there were years where I was like eating ramen noodles or like, you'd buy like 50-cent ramen noodles and eat them until you could have that one meal at the club.
Yep.
I had a lot of those years, but I didn't think I was struggling because I struggled as a kid. So I was like, man, I'm doing great.
Well, how long did it take you before things started to pick up for you? Like because you said you've been in it 22 years.
22
How many years into it where you're like, okay, I can make a living on this?
Yeah. Well, I went on the road in 2003. So that was 5 years in. And I thought I was making a living because, you'd make like $400 a week times 3. I'd usually work 3 weeks a month. So that was $1,200 living in Minnesota where my rent was like $400.
Oh, so you're killing it.
So I was like, I bought a Pontiac Grand Am.
Boom.
Yeah, boom. So I was like, I'm living my best life. But I think that one of the only times where I really felt like I was struggling was the first year that I moved to New York City. It was 2006. And I moved there with like $11,000, which I was like, oh my God, dude.
This is so much money.
I'm going to be able to stay in New York forever. I won't even need to go on the road. And then my like deposit, security, and like all that stuff that you have to just pay on an apartment was like $6,000. So now I was down to $5,000.
Oh.
And then I had an expensive girlfriend at the time that I didn't realize that every dinner, if you had one drink, was going to be $80. So I just went through that. And I was on the road. I was in Indianapolis, and then I was driving up to Wisconsin to my parents' house, and it was rainy. And I had my Kanye West moment because I was literally thinking like, man, I'm going to have to leave New York. I'm out of money. I have nothing. There's no way I'm going to be able to pay this rent. This sucks. And I'm driving in my Grand Am that I kept out in the Midwest at my mom's house. And I get my tire blows on something. It hydroplanes my car in the rain. My car spins. I go into that center divider. You know how in Chicago there's the subway trains go in the middle of the highway? I crash into that. Like every window in my car shatters because of the impact. It was just like impact. And I got all my stuff out of the car.
It's raining.
It's raining. A tow truck driver came, and I had my bag with my laptop and then my merch money from that week, which was like $700 from T-shirts or whatever. I'm just sitting there in the rain on top of this like subway thing that I'd climbed up. This tow truck guy comes and he tows me into Caprini Green, which is like notoriously like one of the most dangerous gang neighborhoods in America. And so I'm sitting there in my car, it's raining, and he's like, there's going to be another tow truck guy that's going to come and help you fix your tire. And I'm like, that's not going to help. Like, my car is totaled, man. So he helps me change my flat tire, and I have one of those like little spares, and my car is like drivable, but it's like so I drive like 55 miles an hour to Wisconsin from Chicago. And I get out of the car, and there was like, I had taken my merch T-shirts and put them on me because it was so cold in the car, and I didn't have like a warm jacket. So I get to my mom's garage, and there's like a trail of blood and merch. And I just went into the house in shock and fell down and just like fell asleep. Like I was just, and that was probably like my lowest point in comedy. But then the next day I got the insurance report back, and I was going to get like $8,000 for this stupid Grand Am that I was dumb enough to have paid off. So now I get all that $8,000. And that was my like Kanye West moment, because it like kept me in the car crash kept me in show business from Chicago.
You're like, welcome to the good life. $8,000.
Welcome to the good life. Yeah. So that was probably my lowest moment in showbiz, but it turned out to be my highest moment because it gave me enough money to have $8,000 in New York. And also, I didn't need a car in New York, so that was kind of perfect. Yeah. It was the worst circumstance, but yeah, so things have been tough, lean, but, I guess comedy-wise, things were a little bit tough in New York, like artistically, because when I first moved to New York, I got passed at all the clubs. Like, I lived right across.
Was it hard?
It was, well, I had a really great manager at the time, and he just like waved his wrist and got me passed everywhere. And I was like, wow, man,
you're awesome.
Show business is easy. And then I went out on the road because I had to like make up for some of that money. And in the time that I was out on the road, all the bookers changed at the clubs. It was like systematically, like I just got, text after text, like, dude, did you hear that, JR isn't booking the comic strip anymore? And I was like, oh man, JR was my friend. Shit, So I come back to New York, and I basically have to like re-audition for everybody at all these clubs, and they're not into me. I'm like, put my headshots up on the wall. And they're like, we don't care. And I remember I would go every single night because I lived across from the comic strip. I went every single night and did late night, where you'd do 3 minutes after the real show had happened. And it was like scorched earth. And I just wanted to say that I got up that night. So I'd go over there and wait for 2 hours, and I could sign up, and I'd sit and I'd talk to people. And it was the kind of hanging out where like real comics would come in, and I'd be like, hey, Jim Gaffigan, how's it going? And he'd be like, hey man, how are you? Like, friendly but scared.
Yeah, I got you.
Apprehensive of talking to me because of my energy. And but I did that. And then I just had the hardest time getting past at the New York clubs again, to the point where I did a Comedy Central half hour, and I was running 3-minute snippets of it on late night. And the booker of the comic strip at the time, I was like, but dude, I'm getting a Comedy Central special. And he's like, yeah, there's a whole line of guys that have Comedy Central specials. Get behind them. Theirs have already aired.
So do you think that the only reason, because obviously you're funny, it was that a lot of people don't like the people before them, like, just to be different? Unless it's a huge name.
I think so. I don't know, because it wasn't a lack of tenacity, because I showed up and I tried to get in, and I just wasn't their type of guy. I think it's also that thing that I explained earlier, where in the first few minutes I have to be so funny to disprove people's kind of prejudice of what they think I am, because I'm a little extra. I'm a little needy. I'm way too kind. And for most people, they just go like, that equals he must suck.
Yeah.
And so I think these bookers didn't know anything about my stage presence. They just saw my demeanor and they were like, he can't be good.
Be funny.
That guy can't be good. And I don't even blame him. And now I'm making a lot of money off of that same persona, which is good. And that actually draws crowds in. But
did you ever think at that point when it wasn't going well, when they weren't maybe I should switch it up a little bit? Or you just were like, I know this works. They're just being dumb right now.
I've tried every day of my life to be a little cooler, and it just doesn't work. You know, like I'll be like, just say less, Pete. Just say less. People will be like, how are you? I'll be like, good.
And it feels weird.
I'm really good. I'm having a great day. I saw flowers in Central Park today. It was awesome. Like I'm not good at that. And I'm not good at being cool, which is, I don't know what that is.
So besides comedy, like, what are you into right now? What are you binging? What are you watching?
I'm really into surfing right now. I moved to Cali and I just got really into surfing. I suck at it.
You got the wetsuit and everything.
I got the wetsuit. I got the board. I bought my girlfriend a board.
Does she like it, or is it kind of like I'm going because you're going?
It's kind of I'm going because you're going, but she also got the crap kicked out of her in Cabo by this. Like, there's, you know how in a relationship, like the woman's always right.
Oh, 100%.
Like 100% of the time they're right, and then like really like 95% they're right.
Yeah.
And we were standing on the shore in Cabo with our surfboards. And I'm pretty slow at everything. And so I was like, babe, just wait to go in. And she's like, I don't want to wait. She's like, you always want to wait. And I was like, trust me, there's a big set of waves coming in. And if we wait 2 minutes, we're going to go out in smooth glass swimming pool water. But right now we're going to get the crap kicked out of us. And she's like, I'm going in. And then it beat the crap out of her. I mean, they say that every cubic meter of water weighs a ton. And this was a lot of rolling tons just coming right at her. And it ended with us hyperventilating, or like both of us were scared crapless.
Oh, you followed her though? I
followed her because I was like, I got to go with like almost like a lifeguard.
Yeah.
But it was like I was drowning and trying to help her not drown. And then we wound up on the beach sitting on the surfboards hyperventilating. And I'm like, also just as scared as her, but with my arm around her, like, oh, it's okay, babe. Oh, and that's crazy. You got scared, right?
And I know, you're in a relationship. You can't be the I told you so person.
No,
because that would escalate it through the roof.
Yeah, that would not be a good move. And my girlfriend's a psychiatric nurse practitioner. So like any type of stuff like that, she can just see through it, and she can instantly see my motivation and where it came from in my childhood. And I don't want to hear about it.
She'll start breaking you down. Like, this is why. Has she ever done that before? You're acting like this because boom, 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 boom. And you're like,
It's a little worse than that, because she'll be like, why do you think you did that? And I'm like, because my dad left and Red Lobster waitress mom, and I feel insecure sometimes. And yeah,
you just leave in a pool of your own tears.
Yeah.
She just walks away. All right, have a great day. I'll be back later.
And it's like a chess game where I can see where it will lead to all of that. And so I'm just like, put your arm around her and just be there. Like, be masculine and quiet.
That's our job.
That's our job.
Masculine and quiet. And they're always right.
That's why women love Ryan Gosling. Have you ever seen a Ryan Gosling movie? He's like with his shirt off, and the woman is like, I'm having this kind of a day and everything's wrong and nothing matter. You because of it. And he's like, okay, babe.
Hey, girl.
Hey, girl. It's 2 words. And then women are like, he's quiet and handsome.
Yeah. He's a real life Ken doll. Mm-hmm. It doesn't talk.
Yeah, he doesn't talk. He
probably has no testicles.
No,
none. Just smooth down there.
Testicles make you emotional. That's why he's so calm. He has 0 testicles.
That's what it is. All right, I'm wearing your shirt. You have a podcast, Snuggle Storm. Tell me about that.
Yeah, thank you for wearing the t-shirt.
Oh yeah, I love it. I like to represent people.
Yeah, that makes me feel so cool. Yeah. And I've also been a fan of yours for a long time. I used to watch you on Chelsea. I saw your e-show. Like, I thought you're just so awesome.
Thanks,
so the fact that you're wearing our podcast shirt is really
cool. Oh, dude, thank you. Yeah. You're the best. You're the best. So tell people, what's it about?
Yeah, so it's actually my girlfriend and I. She's a psychiatric nurse practitioner. And we do a podcast where we bring a comedian on, and then we kind of talk psych with them, like what's going on, if they're having any issues. And then we also give advice to the listeners. So Snugglestorm is basically like a psychiatric advice podcast, but if a comedian was sitting right next to your therapist, you know, so like imagine the therapist gives their take, and then the comic's like, nah,
you need to do this.
Yeah, just do this.
Have you ever had a comedian on with no problems?
No, we've all got problems.
Because I don't see you having no problem. Like, I don't see you with a lot of problems either.
I mean, I have like my insecurities, and I have stuff from like being bullied as a kid and like growing up poor, and like, you know, those kind of imposter syndrome, you know, sort of things. Like I could be leaving the Tonight Show in the suit where I just killed, and I, you know, I'm like trying to open doors for people. Like, no, after you,
100%.
That's my psych stuff, is being maybe a little too.
Do you think you're too nice, or does your is it your fiance, girlfriend, or wife? What are y'all right now?
She's my girlfriend. Which it's weird because like she feels like she's more than that. Like girlfriend almost sounds like an insult. I just haven't asked her yet. We've only been together for like a year.
Okay.
So, and I'm a fast mover. Like we made eye contact, and I'm like, "Do you want to move in together?" You know, like because she was just so perfect, and I love her. And so I'm trying to be cool by not asking her yet, because I probably would have asked her in month 1.
Yeah, I got you.
She's awesome. You've met her.
Oh,
right?
she's amazing. She was on the yacht.
Yeah, we
she was on the yacht with us.
Yes, we summered together.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did. No, it's great, man. I tell you, just my married life is the best. If you find the right one, it's amazing. Me and my wife have been together 5 years, and literally it feels like it's no time.
It's the best, and I wish that somebody would have told me years ago that just choosing the right person was the key to happiness. Because they say that there's a lid for every pot, you know, and like I believe that everybody has somebody that's compatible with them.
100%.
Everybody has somebody that's a match.
I also think everybody has a match in different times of your life. It just depends if you're ready.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I probably met several people when I was way too young that would have been probably a great person, but me as a person was totally not ready to be that person.
Yeah, you were. Were you ever like wild?
In Miami.
Oh,
I was crazy. I lived in Miami for 6 years there, 6 to 7 years. And like that was moving from Austin, Texas, where it was like drinks were $1.
Yeah.
Get there, it's like $18 a drink. And then I'm at their biggest club. Literally, I go up to the door guy. I never forget his name. His name is Conrad. And I go up and go, "Hey, I'm new here. I've never been to like a club like this. And, you know, I work for this local radio station. Just hired me. But the line was all the way wrapped around the building. I go, I don't know anyway. I just want to see the place." And he goes, "All right, you can come in." And then he stops me and goes, "You know why I let you in?" I go, "Why?" He goes, "Because you weren't trying to show off. You were honest and truthful." And he says, people throw, you know, then I got to know him really well. And he goes, people throw money at it. They think that impresses me. And you go, I'm this guy that doesn't belong here, but can you let me in? I don't even have girls with me.
Yeah.
It's just, you know, so it was a cool moment. But you go in a club, like I'm used to getting to clubs at midnight, you know, this club didn't get popping until like 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm standing there going, oh my God, like we're there to 6. I'm like, wow. And this is my first night in Miami. I was like, oh, wow, this is how they do it out here.
That's
literally
great.
The club was empty till 3 a.m., 2:30, 3 a.m.
Oh my God. So what time did you get there?
I got there like 12.
You got there at like 12.
So literally it was different people. But since I was single and young, it was like, whoa, I'm in the hottest club. Because what I learned is they let people in very slow.
Yeah.
Even though the line was around the building, they wanted people to see that line around the building.
Oh, yeah.
So that's the image of like, oh my God, this club is crazy. Look at the line.
That's amazing.
So they just let them in slow. So it was awesome though.
I'm picturing you being a party guy in Miami. There's definitely a fedora.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe a light colored jacket. You know?
I wasn't a fedora guy, but I did look very Miami at that time, you know.
That's so cool. Maybe that's one of the reasons why you're so cool is that you have that Miami in you.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, I love Miami. Have you ever performed in Miami?
Well, I did the Miami Improv back in like 2006 or 7, something like that. But like, it was literally just a bunch of people eating dinner while I opened for a bigger comedian.
Well, you know that club, the old Miami Improv, was notorious for people just talking over you, eating over you, having full-on conversations like you weren't even on stage.
Yeah, it felt like a filibuster. Like I was just like, I got to talk for 30 minutes, and I had a watch that I kept checking. Okay, all right, we're 3 minutes in. Cool.
No, that club is notorious. I've seen comics lose it on that stage. But I'm going, they opened a new one. I'll be there actually in 2 weeks, September 6th and 7th. So
September 6th and 7th?
Yeah.
Oh,
so
that's fun.
Yeah. So I want to check out the new club, but there, it's in a nicer arena now.
I bet that it's going to be a better club. And I also feel like the people that run the Improvs know a lot more now.
Oh yeah.
That was one of their first flagship clubs. And I think they might have opened it in the wrong place and maybe advertised incorrectly. But you're also, you're a big name in comedy, so you're going to have a lot of people that come out.
Here's what's interesting. People say that, but literally, and I don't want to name drop here, but I was talking to, cause I interview him, Kevin Hart. Yeah. And we had a discussion about my special. My special came out like 6 months ago, and I go, I don't know if I want to drop it. I want to get it perfect. He goes, it's never perfect. You got to drop it because people don't know you're a comedian. Like, until you have a special, it's weird. Like, he goes, look what you have done. You're touring for the last 6 years and people don't even know you do stand up. They're just coming because they see you on TV.
Yeah.
He goes, now when you drop a special, get the clips out. So then that kind of solidifies it. So even though I've been doing it 9 years now, I feel like this year was the first year.
Yeah.
Like, I've been doing it because people now, every outlet I go on, they say comedian Michael Yo. Where all the other years it was, he hosts this, he hosts this, he hosts this, and he's a comedian. Yeah. So I feel like a new birth has happened where now everywhere I go, people go, that's the comedian. It's kind of switch where when you started, you were a comedian.
Yeah.
When I started, I was a host. Even on Chelsea.
Oh, yeah.
I worked for E.
And she would bring, because I actually remember your first appearance on there.
Really?
Where it was like, I think she even introduced you, like, you're from this part of E.
Because they added me to the show because they wanted 3 comics and a real news person that's witty or whatever to defend the celebrities because they didn't want they didn't want to trash them. And she was dating Ted at the time, the president. So they go, we're going to put you on the show to defend the celebrities because you got to interview them. So that's why she always, the whole kissing ass, or you're kissing the celebrities ass, because I actually had to defend them. None of the comics did.
But that's interesting that they basically gave you a point of view, which was one of the hardest things to have in comedy.
Yeah.
They gave you a point of view of the defendant. No
matter how bad that person was.
The district attorney of celebrities right away is what you were. You're like, Your Honor.
Your Honor. You got to look at the good things about Lindsay Lohan. Like I was that guy. And then her audience would get so mad, like her people that loved her. Because literally they think, why you keep putting yourself on that show? Like I was booking myself on the show. Yeah. And then it became into this big bit where she would always dog me on the show. And then people would come, I would sell out shows from that show. They would come and go, oh, you are funny.
Yeah, I heard. First of all, I loved you from that show. Like, my ex and we watched like every single night, and we always loved you on there. And then, but I heard from comedians like right away that you were really funny. So, like,
that's great.
So for me, you've always been a comic. Like, because first of all, the first impression of you was you making me laugh on a television show that I loved. And then I heard from other comics that you're a good comic. And then I was like, oh, okay, so he's a comic. So, but I could see how maybe like your internal litmus test, you're like, I'm not a comic until X or Y or, whatever. We all have, we're all chasing whatever we think is the bar, whatever bar we set for ourselves. So you set a high bar for yourself.
Yeah.
That's probably why you're a great comedian.
Well, that's why I'm just trying to like a lot of people want to get past at the Comedy Store. Like, I feel my career is not at the place yet where I even want to be past. But I get that some people that are coming up that get past, that's great for it. And I'm not disrespecting or disregarding anyone. I just see myself getting to a Tiffany Haddish, Kevin Hart, even Dave Chappelle level. Like, that's how big I want to be in comedy, selling out arenas, like a Joe Coy right now. then going, oh, okay, you're past now. Cause then I feel like I deserve it. Yeah. Until then, I feel like, I'll pop in on shows here and there, but I put myself at a high standard. Like,
yeah, you want to be at that, like, I'm gonna call it the level is Dane Chappelle.
Yeah, yeah. Where when you walk in, you're not passed, but they'll put you on because you're in town.
Yeah,
like, and that's when I feel like, because to me, the Comedy Store is the holy grail.
It really is.
And on a Tuesday night, you'll see if you're an audience member on a Tuesday night, you'll see every huge touring comic for $30. So literally, you're paying $2. For
every superstar.
And we're not talking about like, oh, they're just local. No, Sebastian to Bill Burr to Chris D'Elia to, Whitney Cummings it's just everybody,
It's crazy to me that because I'm getting in at the store right now. I'm doing all those development spots.
Yeah.
And, one of my friends, Ari Shaffir, right?
Oh, of course.
When it was the night before I moved, he's like, you shouldn't do it. He goes, you're never going to get any spots in LA. That's how he talks. Like, it's very choppy, pressured speech. My name is Ari Shaffir. And, but he told me that I shouldn't move out here because he's like, you're never going to get past the store. And I was like, well, I'm willing to do whatever it takes.
But why would he say that though?
He just was like, they're not looking for you right now, and I'm like, well, I don't know, like I know that you got to be like a superstar or whatever in order to get in there, or you have to have like a huge, TV show or whatever. And I was like, well, maybe that'll happen and I'll get in, but I'm like, I got to at least try.
Yeah.
I had the same thinking with The Cellar, and then I got in there, and that seemed impossible, but I moved out here and I just started doing the Monday night potlucks because Adam would let me do that. And so you do 3 minutes of material. And then eventually he was like, hey man, he's like, I can't pass you right now. Cause he's, basically like, this is the bar and you got to be at this. And at that time I had just done my third Tonight Show. And so there's a part of me that's like, well, I think I'm a funny enough comic to be working there.
And maybe it's a thing where it's us, but once you start comparing, cause in your mind, every comic goes, but you have people past that haven't been on the Tonight Show.
Yeah.
But what I learned very quickly in this town, once you go down that road, it'll freaking drive you crazy.
Yeah.
So you got to stay off that lane.
Yeah, I was. I actually studied sketch and improv at the UCB after. This was like after I had done a Comedy Central special. I just went to school there and took every class that they could. It was 2 years that I spent studying there, and they had this big sign up in the lobby that said "Be better, not bitter."
Yes.
And so that was one of those moments where I was like, he offered me these development spots for 5 minutes, and I think I literally just got one via text just now.
Now, how do you get it? Does he text you or does somebody else?
The Quincy Weekly just texted me. He said Monday, Belly Room, 7:30 p.m. doors. So like this means that on this Belly Room show, I'm gonna go up like first or second. I'm gonna warm the crowd up, and but I go up in the main room, and it'll be like sometimes you're up first, sometimes you're up last, sometimes you're up in the middle of the show, and it'll literally be like Bill Burr, me, then Joe Rogan, then Sebastian. And like, luckily I was kind of a heavy hitter at the Cellar, so I can handle that.
You're used to that.
I'm used to it, and I can walk right into it, and it actually feels appropriate and fine. But at first I was like, man, maybe this is a little weird to do these development spots, but it's awesome. Like it feels.
Did you feel like at the beginning, and no disrespect, but it was kind of like a slap in the face, like you're putting me through development spots?
I had like a second where I was like, is this a slap in the face? But then I thought, so one of my friends told me, he's like, like it's a tradition to do development spots at the store. David Letterman did development spots there. Like I don't think Kinnison did, but like all those 80s guys, like they had.
It's almost like a badge of honor. It's like I got to do development spots, and now and then when I get passed, like you did the work, you weren't just passed.
Yeah, and I kind of like that, especially with my work ethic. I like that better than just walking into town and being handed it. Especially since I walked into New York, was handed everything, then it was taken away, and then I had 6 years of building back up. I'd rather start building now. And then, maybe, so I've been doing development spots for like 9 months. They've been a blast. I love the fact that I can even walk into that building and perform on any level. And, maybe a year from now I'll be past with my name on the building, but
it'll be Peatly, pass.
I'll make them do cursive of Peatly, boom, boom, boom.
Dude, we got to run, but where can people find you?
You can find me on Instagram at Peatly. I'm on Twitter at Peatly Tweets. If you're still on the Twitter, you can go to my website, peatly.net. And if you're on YouTube, search Peatly Tonight Show and watch all my Tonight Show clips.
And Snuggle Storm.
Please go to iTunes or wherever you find podcasts and listen to Snuggle Storm. It's a really great podcast, I promise.
All right, dude. Yeah. Thank you so much, man.
Thank you.